first episode of Paper and Parsecs, the podcast. Yeah, you're right. You heard that. I am Vince, your host, the Evil DM. To my screen left, left, I think, is Matt.
Hello, everyone.
And right below me in my setup is Nick.
Hello, everyone.
You might be familiar with all of us because we've been doing Friday night hangouts, which we will no longer be doing because, Friday nights are a bad night for shows anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we will try to bring you this at least twice a month, maybe more, depending on our schedules. Maybe we'll do it weekly. Maybe we'll do it bi-weekly. But you may notice there is a Paper and Parsecs thing here on my channel, but we decided to turn it into a podcast to talk more about Star Wars, the role-playing game. A lot of you are probably familiar with us that are on this channel from Roll for Initiative. We did Roll for Initiative for 11 years, Matt?
It'd be September 2009 to like July 2019.
So
about almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years, yeah.
10 years doing a podcast that we loved and got run into the ground. And we stopped doing it because we
couldn't find anything else to talk about for first edition AD&D.
Right.
I mean, there were still things we could talk about, but there were things we didn't want to talk about.
We'll just say Dungeons and Dragons, then the OSR moved past us.
Yeah, the OSR is done and over with. I'm done with the OSR. We're doing bigger and better things. Right now, we're talking about Star Wars, the role-playing game.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Cantina Bar Wars.
Oh, God. Nick's going to sing the whole song.
Yeah.
Yay.
So, just starting out this is Star Wars D6 First Edition. And Nick is holding up the book. Very good, Nick. Display it for us, our Vanner White Nick. There we go. Is Nick backwards for you, too?
Yes.
Okay, Nick is mirrored his
How's
camera.
that? Is that better?
No, that's the back of the book, Nick.
How about that?
No. Yeah, your camera's mirrored. It's fine. Anyway, yeah, so this is the only book you really need to start playing the game. You don't need anything else, and you don't even need the West End Games version of the book. You could probably get didn't Final what is it called? Who did the reprints? Fantasy Flight Unlimited, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
They did their own ones, and I think they got rid of the West End Games logo, and they put their own logo on the books. It was a slip cover, and it gave you a bunch of nice little stuff with it. But no,
I got those once for Christmas. I got that set for Christmas a few years ago.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah, I do. It's up in my closet here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't want to open the closet and have all the skeletons fall out and everything. So,
or whatever else may be in there.
It wouldn't be a podcast if a cat didn't join Matt.
Nope.
No cats. Oh, wait a minute. Hey.
Well, yep.
Anytime Matt does a podcast, a cat pops up.
Yeah.
It's a mini bantha.
It happens.
Yeah. So this is the only book you really will need when playing this game. It has everything you need. It is about 100 and... I don't know how many pages. A lot. 120-something pages? 50 pages?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's all you really need to start playing the game. Well, 139 plus the character charts in the back. So 150 was close enough. That's all you need. Now, what I do suggest that you grab, and Nick and I have different ones along the way, the source book also.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The source book is another book I highly suggest you get. It has some more information in there about a little more rules, a little bit more about ships and things like that, and different imperial stuff in here that you can use for your campaign. Now, if you want to go really into getting into things, you can pick up the Imperial source book. Now, mine's soft cover, and you have to be careful when you buy this. Nick has the hardcover, which is fine.
Yep.
And I have a soft cover, which is I didn't know they made a hardcover for first edition, but they did apparently. But you have to be careful because they made the same exact book for second edition Star Wars.
Same cover and everything, I think.
The only difference is right below down here, it says for use with second edition.
Second edition. So.
That's the only difference between the two books, really. And except obviously the stuff inside of it are different stats and stuff like that. And you can also, if you want to really spend some buck, Rebel Alliance.
I have that one too.
Yeah, and Nick has the hardcover as I have the soft cover. I didn't know they made these in hardcovers, which I wish I knew, but anyway. You can get this too. It's 144 pages, has a lot of information about the Rebel Alliance. If you really want to base your games in this type of thing, it's perfect. You don't have to do this. These are just optional things to purchase. But these 4 books,
The core 4, if you will.
very good. I like that, Nick. The core 4 are the only books you're really going to need when playing this game. At least that's my opinion. You guys could step in and say otherwise.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, you got these 4 books. There's more than enough stuff that you can use to create a campaign with that. Plus, I mean, maybe whatever else you can find on the internet for Star Wars First Edition too.
Yeah.
I mean,
A great site, rpggamer.org.
Yep.
If you go to his site, he has his entire site is dedicated. Freddie, his name's Freddie, who maintains that site. His entire site is dedicated to builds of different ships, different characters, different movies. If there's a new movie, he pretty much statted all the characters out, but his is more along the lines, I think, of using the revised expanded edition, which is the Millennium Falcon edition book, which has a little bit more crunch to it.
what the
So
hell's
if
an
you-
aluminum Falcon?
Aluminum Falcon? No, Millennium Falcon. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
If you like more crunch, that's for you. This book here is cinematic, like a cinematic Star Wars, so to speak. Why can't I get it on the screen? But anyway, you'll see it in a second once I get on the screen here again. I'll share my screen.
Plus, I
And-
have one more recommendation. As a, I always thought it was a very good supplement to have.
What's that?
That is the Galaxy Guide 4.
Oh yeah, the
Alien
Galaxy Guides.
Races.
Those
This
things
of
are
the Galaxy
so
Guides.
hard.
Yeah, but of the Galaxy Guides, this is the only one I have because it has templates for all the different alien races that have been in the movies, and I believe up to that point, some of the adventures, some of the modules for Star Wars RPG.
Good luck and God bless trying to find those things because they're so expensive.
Yeah,
I
you
got
might be
lucky.
able to find it on PDF somewhere on the internet,
Mhm.
but yeah, this one I have. This one, yeah, was 89 that this Galaxy Guide came out, and it has, most of your standard races. There, hey, we know these guys, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and it has races from, I believe, that some of the different adventures, like this race right here. They're called the Ugors. So
Sounds like
it's,
something
I
from
think,
Sundar.
yeah. But I mean, if you're looking like to really expand on, if you want to use like alien templates as a baseline for a character, I think this is a nice little thing to have if you could grab it, if you could find it.
Very hard to find those things, and if you do, they're usually pretty expensive. So if you can grab them, go ahead, but you don't need it.
Yeah.
The adventure guides, you don't need any of that stuff. I mean, if you want it, by all means, if you are a completist or you just need that extra little bit of zhuzh to your game, go for it. I mean,
yeah, because this system had a lot of supplements.
Oh my God,
a
so
lot. Many. Yeah, just so much that was added on, because you have to remember when this was being done, it was only, you had the 3 movies, you had the trilogy, and that was it. You didn't, none of the, and they started to incorporate the expanded universe from the novels was just kind of taking off then too, because I'm trying to remember when the first.
Well,
did you know for a fact that the West End game stuff was considered canon for
it is
the novel universe? Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That was directly from Lucasfilm when they made the deal that like anything made for the role playing game is considered canon in the Star Wars universe.
Because back in that time, anything created for Star Wars was canon. They would not, they really weren't letting people make off canon stuff.
Well, I think up to that point, just prior to the RPG coming out, anything from the original trilogy, only thing you had really was the comic book by Marvel. You had Splinter of the Mind's Eye
Oh
by
God, yeah,
Ellen Dean Foster.
where they
You
explored the
had
fact that Leia was not his sister, and he had a romantic
right,
relationship with Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
If
yeah.
you read it,
I don't know if that's still canon or not, but
no, that's not canon anymore.
No,
alternate universe.
if it was in a book, it doesn't count. Didn't happen.
But we
No.
have the Han Solo novels.
Yeah, the Adventures of
Um,
Han Solo.
Han
Yeah.
Solo's Legacy, and there
I
was a
actually
couple
have
Lando
a ton of those.
Calrissian. There was a couple Lando Calrissian books too,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
and that was it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Between 83 and 87, that's all you had. And then West End Games makes the big deal of all big deals, and I think you can make the argument, because of the Star Wars RPG made by West End Games, put new life into the franchise, because it was just kind of lingering in
Yeah.
the late 80s. And then all of a sudden you have, in 1990, I think it was, you had the Thrawn trilogy.
And they did
I
make a
believe
Thrawn
that came out.
trilogy book as well for the RPG.
Yep. I have the first one of that, Heir to the Empire.
There's also a movie trilogy book as well if you want to pick that up, so you can just have all that stuff.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. But it's
Not
funny
required.
how how for that roughly 4 years, there was like, for us as kids, like us Gen Xers back then, we were hungry for Star Wars shit. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, because the Thrawn trilogy didn't even come out till 1991.
right. I remember when that came out. That was big news.
Yeah.
This was the first authorized. It was the first authorized
Mhm.
novel since those novelizations of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And one could argue they should have been made into movies, but hey,
But yeah.
we'll just let that lie.
But we will get into those things. We will not only just talk about the RPG, we will talk about Star Wars news as well. So if there's something coming down the line for a new movie or a new TV show, we'll talk about it. We may not like it, or we may like it. We'll try to keep our opinions in a box.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and you have to understand that we're all fans of the original trilogy, and I am fans of the prequels, not the sequels.
I'm
fine.
I'm finding the prequels even being better too over time.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of the new movies. I own them all on Blu-ray, but haven't seen anything from Force Awakens on. Just
We'll when we get to those points, we'll talk about those things. I
Yeah.
mean, they were okay. They were entertaining. They were nostalgia grabs, and that's pretty much all it was. So, I have been to the Star Wars theme park that they have at Disney. It is fun.
yeah. I mean, I have done 2 pro wrestling matches as a Jedi and have once made a hot tag by touching lightsabers.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds too sexual, Matt. So stop.
It's
Uh,
I mean, all because Carl Anderson nicknamed me Star Wars like 20 years ago. Fast forward, the booker gets an idea. Hey, let's have our cameraman wrestle and we'll make him a fucking Jedi. Yeah, it happened.
I don't want to know about that. Anyway, that's just disturbing that Carl
Yeah.
Anderson was involved in that.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and you may get wrestling stuff on here because Matt and I are wrestling fans, and Matt actually is involved with professional wrestling on a not a bigger scale, but probably a lower scale, Matt, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like basically like the entry level.
Here's
but
indie, and then here's Matt. Matt's like right here, right above the indie.
I would say I'm like lower than like the top level indies for sure.
Yeah, you're
but
a
it's
little bit above the indies. But anyway, you
Yeah.
may hear some wrestling stuff, and too bad you're just gonna have to deal with it. But back to Star Wars, what you hear. So now, the first thing you want to do after you get your books together and you get your friends together, you all have to read the book. I don't care if you're a player or you're a GM, read the damn book.
Mhm.
I don't like people that don't read the book.
Take
if
the
you're a
book
Star Wars
while you're
fan-
going to the bathroom. Read the book.
Mhm.
Sure, if you want to take a dump and read, that's by all means.
Mhm.
You're going to want to read this book cover to cover, just so you have a good perspective of the book. It has a lot of good information. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to love to read this because it has some great pictures in it from the movies and great still shots and great writing from West End Games. After you do that, you need to sit down with your group. And I found, and Nick, you can probably tell me how you do with your group, but
Hmm.
I found that you have to decide together as a group, do you all want to play normal characters mixed with Jedis or all Jedis or all Force users? Now you have to decide if you're going to be a Jedi or a Force user because there's two different things in here, and you can't be a dark Jedi. We'll get into that later on.
No.
Right.
So
Yeah, and also
Um,
depending on the era you're playing in will also affect that.
mhm.
right,
Because if you're running around in episode 4, there's not going to be a bunch of Jedis hanging out. So
Right.
yeah, that's also something you have to decide. Matt's correct. I skipped that. I apologize, but the book just assumes that you're playing during the New Hope era anyway. So
Yeah, just a couple of years after the Battle of Yavin, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to decide as a GM, you could be, no, I want to play during the Clone Wars. Okay, cool. Then everyone could be possibly Jedis because Jedis were running around like crazy back then.
Mhm.
You could be in the Knights of the Old Republic and yeah, have Jedi there too.
Yeah.
You could be, New Hope when Jedis are being hunted, things like that.
Yeah.
You get to-
Yeah, right before the first movies, during post Order 66.
There you go.
As you mentioned that's my friend Jeff. That was his campaign, or that we ran for a number of years. Was we created characters which was post Clone Wars, just before Order 66. We were there when Order 66 went down, when everything went sideways, and we had a clone
did.
trooper in the group.
That's what we did for our campaign. Star Wars Fall of the Order, it was called. It's actually here on the channel. We did right before Order 66, going into Order 66 area around there, and we were basically all we weren't Jedi, but we were all Force users who were on our way to the Jedi Academy, but we kept having all these things happen to us along the way, to the point that we never actually made it to the Academy.
I mean, yeah, for ours, we had one actual Jedi, and we had one other. She was a Force user, and because she had a light foil, but she eventually acquired a lightsaber, and she became more of a Force user, more of a almost going to full on Jedi.
I treaded the line of gray Jedi.
Ah,
I did the Qui-Gon Jinn type method of a Jedi, but I played my guy. My guy was a he had a royal title. He was a count. Everyone just called him the Count. And I was modeling him after Count Dooku, actually, to be honest, because Count Dooku was my favorite badass Jedi, and I love reading about him. But yeah, I pretty much modeled it after him, and it was always because it was an actual play podcast that we did. And it was always a question, will the Count go to the dark side based on his actions? Because I always treaded that line of, am I going to get a dark side point?
Yeah. You were determined to keep the Force at balance.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, I think in our campaign, we eventually ran across. Yeah, we did run across a gray Jedi. We absolutely did.
And you can be a gray Jedi.
Yeah.
It allows it. It just doesn't allow you to be a dark Jedi. And this is before the term Sith was introduced. They just called them dark Jedi or fallen Jedi, things like that.
Yeah, our campaign went so far into Jeff actually started incorporating other sci-fi series
Nice
into.
Okay.
Yeah, in fact, we were on the Outer Rim territories, and we were looking for it was a Sith. It was from the Sith War, like thousands of years ago during the Sith War. It was some sort of it was some sort of like a battle cruiser or spaceship, right? Something like that. Basically, it was the Cygnus from the movie Black Hole. And we were near a black hole. He took the whole premise of the black hole and built it around a scenario that we did. It was actually pretty.
Sounds like fun.
It was pretty frightening. I think that was our Halloween game, come to think of it.
going back on track here. Enough of our old man stories here.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, you're an old man. We understand.
It was just a fun campaign. That's all I could say.
After you guys read the book, decide what area you're going to play in, decide what type of characters you're going to. There's a bunch of templates in the book that you can take and use to jumpstart your characters off. I highly suggest just making your own character. That way you can customize them how you want. Nick is in the camp of just taking templates.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm not saying that at all. I mean, that's just how I always played. I mean, it was because I think it was one of those games where you could easily just do like a pickup game. There's all those templates, and boom, 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 you're ready to roll.
Yeah, like if you wanted to do like just a quick start, like, hey, let's introduce the group to this game just to get them playing to see if it's something they want to invest in. Templates are great for that. Just to get you. Yeah. Like if you're running a convention game, you could have players use those templates, 5-10 minutes max. You have a character and you're playing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, with the templates, all you have to do is distribute the skills, and that's it.
Yep.
But
I mean, what you're talking about, Vince, no problem at all. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me pop over. Here's one of the character sheets that I found online, just so we can have an example here, and you guys can see. It's someone did this online. I'm not sure who did it. I just kind of downloaded it, but it shows a character sheet where we have a dexterity, perception, knowledge, and I have to actually double check because something's looking weird on here. Let's get to our character sheet here in the book as well. Is it on the last page? No, it's not.
No, the closest thing you have is the templates, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably about it.
Yeah. Well, no, it's right before the templates start. You do have a character sheet. And what you'll notice about it, it's like you have the one column of skills. So it kind of mirrors this spreadsheet, this sheet you're showing, except for the weapons and equipment and all of that. It doesn't break it down. It's just lines. So it doesn't have like the weapon where you can put in the range and the damage. And it doesn't have a page number because apparently they don't like numbering the back. Just find the templates and go to the very front of the templates. It's right after page. Yeah.
So anyway, it is the correct skills. I wanted to make sure because I know in later editions they actually swap some of the wording around and change some of the skills around. So anyway, yeah, I got it. The blank character sheets right here. Got it. Yeah, so you basically want to take your character and you're going to want to put his name in and what type of character you want to be like, and that could be whatever your imagination is. Look at some of the templates for an example of that. Species, generally everybody's going to be a human, but you can pick alien races, and you might want to talk to your GM about that because by default, the game does assume that you're human.
Yeah. I mean, there is an Ewok template, so you could have a bunch of Ewoks running around.
Yeah, you could. You could be, damn it, a Twi'lek. You could be, whatever Chewbacca is. I can't think of the name offhand.
A Wookiee?
A Wookiee, thank you. I feel stupid. You can gargle like that.
Calamari.
Yeah, Mount Carmel. Yeah, there's so many different alien races, but just ask your GM first because they may not want to include that in the campaign. Mm-hmm. Because aliens do get a little bit more leeway when it comes to building their character. So when building your character for the main attributes of dexterity, perception, knowledge, strength, mechanical, and technical, you have 18 dice to distribute with them. Each dice represents a D6. Like this, like a little D6.
Yeah.
See? And when you're rolling for certain things, you will roll your stat or skill. So say I have I put in 3 for all these. Look at that fancy looking 3 they put there. Wow. So let's say you would basically put it in like this, 3D. Be confused with tag team.
Get the tables.
Tables, yeah. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. So if you want to just take all Rebel Scum, okay.
Yep.
If you want to take all your 18 dice and distribute them evenly between all the attributes, you do it like this.
Yep.
Now, what you can do is mix it up a little, and you're allowed to go as high as 4, but not any lower as 2 generally. You can, if you talk to the GM, they allow 1, but no attribute can go above 4. Unless you're an alien. Then aliens have special abilities that allow you to go over those things.
But that's just at start, right?
Yeah, that's just at the start of the game.
Right. No more
And
than 4 dice.
And actually, if you look through the rules, there is no rule for increasing your attributes. You can only increase your skills.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, they did add rules later on to do that, but in first edition, they didn't encourage you to do that.
Yeah.
Now, GMs can allow you to do it if you want.
Right. But with that, you run the risk in this type of game. All you got to do is why level up a skill if you can just increase your attribute because of the way
I
the
was
system
getting them
works.
confused. I was thinking the skills that you could increase. Right.
Now, skills, you get 6 dice. Well, before I go on to that, if you are making a Jedi, you're going to want to take some of these 18 points and put it into Force sensitive. Check it off. Yes. And then you're going to want to put your points into the Force. Yep. Or Force strength, actually. He is written on this sheet because Force points are something different. Force strength is what you're going to want to put it into. And then you can get into how, what Jedi powers you have and things like that. But we'll get into building Jedis in a later episode. I just want to get your basic like smuggler character down, just your basic average character, normal human. So this is the character that, Matt's like, yeah, I'm the GM. You could, here you're playing a human. I don't care. Nothing else. I want nothing else in my game. I'm a strict, mean Matt. And
Very mean.
Very mean with, yes. And he's going to growl at you. So now you have 6 dice to distribute amongst your skills. So how does that work? Okay.
Well,
Nick,
7 dice amongst the skills?
Oh, yeah. It's 7 because of the stupid typo. 7 dice to distribute amongst the skills. Nick, you want to explain that a little bit, how the skills work?
Well, with the skills, like you say, you get 6/7 dice. I guess we're still up in the air about that.
Yeah.
But however many
depending on
dice
your
that
printing,
you have, you can distribute those amongst the skills listed on the character sheet. And then after that, when your character when you're awarded skill points, like at the end of an adventure, then you could put those skill points into next to your skill die. For example, let's say for dexterity, I put 2 dice into blaster. So my blaster skill would be 6 dice. Okay. So, and then, okay. All right.
Are you doing Common Core math now?
No.
You just said 2 dice, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put 2 dice plus the blast.
2 dice plus 3 dice is 5.
Well, I was just saying I was going, okay, I'm sorry. I forgot it was 2 dice we had in there. Sorry.
Let's step back for a second.
Yeah.
And do starting characters before advancing characters. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so people don't get confused. Now you have 6 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just saw what I did with the blaster skill there.
Yep.
So when you pick a skill, for example, say under dexterity, you want to be really good in blasters. You want to be that guy that can, blast the side of a barn and hit the fly that's on the barn on the side.
Yep. And always shoot first.
Yes. You want to be Han Solo because he shot first. And
damn right he did. I have the T-shirt that says it.
Yes, exactly. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your base attribute and add the dice to it, because when you look at these skills below it, they are equivalent to the attribute above it.
That's like your baseline.
Yeah, it's your baseline. So, for example, if I had nothing in these skills here and I wanted to dodge because, Matt said the Imperial Stormtrooper actually hit me and I'm shocked after I get up off the floor and find out why he hit me.
Stormtrooper hit you? What the
It actually wasn't a Stormtrooper, just a human wearing the armor.
Oh, okay. That's why. And that's because they can never hit you. But anyway, Matt says, do you want to dodge? And I'm like, yeah, I want to dodge. But, I don't have any skill in dodge. And Matt's just going to be like, okay, well, you have 3D in dexterity, so you just use that to roll for your dodge.
That may be your
But
baseline. Yeah.
right. But say I wanted to make my dodge better because I wanted to be Dodgy McDodgerson here. I take 2 of my dice and put it into dodge, and it becomes 5, well, not
5
percent,
dice.
5D.
Yep. 5 dice.
And you could do that for any one of these skills listed underneath, and even these blank spots where you can. The book does allow you to make up skills.
Yeah.
With your with the
Yeah.
DM.
Yeah.
I can't say like,
approval.
kill them all and get like 7 dice in it.
Yeah.
No, you have to, speak to the GM, and if it makes sense to fit under the branches of this, like
Mhm.
dexterity
Mhm.
be basically your blasters, your dodge, your melee, which most games you wouldn't think dexterity would be a melee skill, but in Star Wars it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Most
Mhm.
games it fits under strength, but this game is more about how it's laid out a little bit different. They tried to be a little bit different. Dexterity is more about moving around, your
Mhm.
coordination and things like that. Perception, obviously looking around, trying to figure something, trying to
Yeah.
hide, con somebody, command somebody, bargain, yada
Yeah.
yada yada. Knowledge is
And
your
as a side note, yeah, dodge, good skill to throw a couple of dice in, no doubt.
Mhm.
yeah, definitely. Knowledge is your knowledge of things around. Strength is your brutal strength. How
Yeah.
much you can carry, how much you can hit somebody for, how
Yeah.
much you can intimidate someone with your physical strength. You sharing something, Matt?
Yeah. It's like it's actually like a combo of strength and constitution. So it's not
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
how your power lifting things. It's also just your physical fitness and endurance.
Because you have a
and-
stamina skill that's listed
yeah,
under strength.
right.
And I guess perception, if I remember correctly, pretty important when it comes to Jedi. Is that
Is
right?
it? Is it? I don't recall. I mean,
I
I
thought
guess
perception was an important one when it comes to making a Jedi.
I could see it potentially.
maybe. I guess it doesn't really matter, but mechanical is your. I want to say it's your muscle memory as far as fixing things,
Yeah.
navigating somewhere, piloting things. That's mechanical when you think mechanical. Now, technical is on the other end of it, and that's more of a. While it does include mechanical things, it's more of a like computerish.
Yeah, it's
Technical.
more the electronics as opposed to the mechanical. I mean, yeah, technical with some medicine thrown in.
Yeah, these two kind of cross over in a sense if you think about it, but because it has weird things like beast riding and
Well, the thing with mechanical, it seems to be more transportation navigational based
Yeah.
than your technical because you have your astronavigation, things related to starships, and
Technical is
also
like actually
writing.
is like fixing things
Yeah,
or making things.
yeah.
So then once you get all your 6 dice distributed, we'll just put 4D here, and we want to be a gambler, so there's another one there. That's a $sign. 4D. Keep holding that down.
$4?
Yeah, $4.
$4.
Where's my $2?
So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll just say we want to be a starship pilot, and that's a $sign again. Keep doing that. Okay, so there we go, and we have our dodge and parry, our defense, which is I forget what page that's on exactly. But while we're doing that, I'll have Matt look it up since Matt's our resident guru person here. So once you get that statted out, then you want to basically jump over to your weapons and decide what type of weapons your guy wants to carry on him. Then you write down the range and the damage for it, as well as if you're going to have any type of armor on. Generally, some characters will want some type of armor because if you're going to be facing blaster fire, you're going to want a little bit of protection, especially, if you get hit, because it'll absorb the damage. Otherwise, you're just going to go straight to being wounded or stunned first, and then you get wounded, and then you get incapacitated, and then you get mortally wounded.
Yeah, and basically when it comes to armor, there's really only 4 different types in the basic game. You got stormtrooper armor, you got helmet, protective vest, and bounty hunter armor.
Yeah.
Which is weird
Yeah.
because bounty hunter armor and stormtrooper armor are rated the same.
Mm,
It's kind of odd.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the bounty hunter armor is basically the Mandalorian armor, if you think about it.
Yes.
But they didn't have Mandalorian named back then, I don't believe.
Yeah, they hadn't called it Beskar yet.
Yeah.
The metal. So
Yeah, it's with the hand-to-hand skills. Melee is used when you're actually using a weapon.
Yeah.
mhm.
The hand-to-hand weapon. Yeah.
Right. Whereas brawl is your fisticuffs
Right.
Yes.
and physical. And then with those, you have basically the equivalent of the dodge, which is the parry melee and parry brawling. And it actually in the book says it's a skill. Parries are reaction skills like dodge, but yet they're not listed on there. So I'm assuming
This is also a different sheet, so you have to remember that. It's someone customized the sheet, so they split it up, probably using the companion rules. Yeah, because it doesn't even have it on the actual. You know what? It actually they
brawling parry.
Listed. Yeah,
they have brawling parry listed as a skill, so it's probably like a slash, or like they have because dexterity is brawling parry,
right?
That's under
and then melee parry is dexterity as well. So there's some skills that are missing from the actual official character.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You got brawling and then brawling parry under.
Okay. Yeah, so on the official character sheet, it's right there underneath the dexterity.
Yeah, brawling parry. Then you have under strength brawling.
Mm-hmm.
So, gotcha.
So this character sheet is not a very good example, and I apologize. I was trying to find one that I could fill in while doing this, but anyway, you would basically list your dice there for it, for your dodge parry and your brawling parry, things like that, to complete your character. And then once you complete your character, you, like I said, you decide your weapons. Most GMs will probably say just pick things within reason. At least I do.
You know,
like it's not uncommon for someone.
Rifle.
What?
Blaster pistol, blaster rifle.
I would say one or the other. Not everybody, depending on the era. If you're in like episode 4, 5, around there, not every person was running around with 2 weapons like that. I would say people most likely had a blaster on their hip or they had a rifle on their back.
Yeah, unless they're like a bounty hunter or their actual character creation is like they're a soldier or something that would justify having a armory.
Right. Like the templates, if you go with the template way, like if you were going to play a Mon Calamari, it has a listing of something like some basic equipment. Uniform, blaster, pistol, comlink, and 1,000 credits.
Yeah, like the bounty hunter in the template has like a heavy blaster, a holdout blaster, and a blaster pistol, like thermal detonator knife, just a bunch of weapons, a jetpack, and some armor.
Yeah, if you're going by the standard skill dice, you know, the build like Vince was suggesting, you know, if you go that way, if you're not sure what equipment to get, you can always refer to the template and maybe just borrow from that, you know, if you're not sure.
I would say once you have your idea of the character you're creating, do the skills yourself, but just borrow the starting equipment from that.
Yeah.
Because it's no different than other games that have like starting character equipment packages just to speed things up. Otherwise, you'll spend way too much time shopping.
Yeah. It's like, I want a thermal detonator.
I would show you the templates, but they are sideways, so it's going to be kind of confused. You got to sit there and do one of these.
You can rotate that.
I can. I don't know how to do it.
There should be up top there. There should be a flip rotate.
Yeah, under view.
Yeah, under view.
Go to rotate view, clockwise, counterclockwise.
Look at that. I did it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Just keep rotating.
Yay.
Rotate.
There we go.
Rotate.
Success.
So you can look at some of the, different characters they have here and look under their equipment and how much is standard. You could talk to the GM and see what they say.
Yeah.
And this gives you a good idea what some basic people have running around with. There's a pilot. Okay, yeah, he has a blaster and he has a rebel uniform. This person has a spear as an Ewok, obviously.
Yep.
And we'll disconnect Matt.
Hey, I want the holiday special expansion, okay? I'm sad they didn't make it.
Well, you could make that your priority to get that done.
Yeah.
Matt, you're dead to me.
Yeah, you're the only one who wants that.
Ew.
I was born the day after it aired. That's how close I missed it from
Oh my God,
being
I'm
in
old. I
existence.
remember watching that on TV.
Yep. I want to forget watching that as well.
The only good part was the Boba Fett part.
Yeah,
First
pretty
appearance of
much.
Boba Fett.
Yep.
We have a Fallen Jedi here, which you can take a look at, and you can see he has 1D in Force control and sense.
Failed Jedi.
And as
Failed
you look
Jedi.
there,
Whoa,
yeah,
yeah.
important. If you're making a Jedi, you can see what their skills, perception, and knowledge, because that's where most of their dice are in.
Now, if you're new to this game, you're probably wondering as you're looking at this upside down, and I will rotate it clockwise
It's
again
like,
so you can see it yet again.
what's the +1?
What's the +1? So
the +2?
what you can do in this game is you can break up a die into 3 little pips. 1 die equals 3 little pips.
Mhm.
And as you can see here, next to these dice here, like here, for example, under dexterity, it says 2 die plus a pip of 2.
Hmm.
That means this person split one of their die and branched it out and added it to. Now, what does that mean when rolling dice? Well, if you play any role-playing game, you probably understand that because that's how it works. Think about D&D when you're rolling 1d4 plus 2.
Same thing.
Same thing. This is instead of saying the dice, which basically this is saying 2d6 plus 2.
Mhm.
But in Star Wars, everything's a d6, so you don't have to actually put the 6 there. It's just assumed that we all know.
2 dice plus 2.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 dice plus 2, roll 2d6 and add 2 to it, and let me know the result.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that. And you can also do that when you're leveling up your character, which we'll talk about in another episode about advancing characters. But you can split up your skill points. I keep thinking character points, but that's in later editions. They call it character points.
Yeah,
In this edition, it's the same thing essentially, but in this edition, you can only increase skills. They don't want you increasing your attributes at all.
Right. It's like in regular D&D back in the day, you couldn't really increase your ability scores at all.
Well, yeah, unless you found some magical tome or something.
Right. Yeah. It was
It's
an
the same
equipment
premise,
buff.
though.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same premise, though.
Yeah.
Right. So that's basically how you would make up a character. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments for us, and we will try to answer them in the next episode. We'll try to bring back like a mailbag session to it. I don't expect many questions, but since we're here on the YouTube, most people will probably watch it and just make comments and things like that. What are you laughing at?
On the YouTube.
That's
sound like my dad.
Well, that's what most old people say. They say the YouTube.
I know.
Right.
Are you on the YouTube?
Or the Facebook, that too.
Yes.
You TikTokers.
Yeah, TikTokers.
Yes.
So that's what you really need to play. That's how you basically make a character. If you read the book cover to cover, it will go over all these things very well.
Mm-hmm.
And it will also teach you how to play the game, which we will do in another episode. Like we'll do like a combat. Maybe like we'll have Matt be the DM or the GM, excuse me. And Nick and I will play 2 characters and we'll just do like a sample combat back and forth.
And it's so simple.
Yeah, the mechanics are really simple. So you can pick up the general flow of the game really quick. I mean,
it looks daunting at first when you look at it because of all the blast. You fire at someone and they get a chance to like dodge or parry it depending on the weapon. And it's like there's a lot of dice rolling, but it's actually pretty quick.
Yeah, it'll flow really well. And really, if you just made a little quick reference of step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, that's how you resolve combat. I mean, it's and it's not hard calculations.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah.
You guys have anything to add before we head out?
Just as far as like the different ways you could create a character, either standard dice pool like you did and split it up, or template. Either way is good. These
templates are like this because they want you, like Matt said, if you want to just grab a couple characters and distribute the 7 skill dice amongst these characters, and then you move forward from there and you just hand out the characters and you're done. You can play within 5-10 minutes. It
Yeah.
should take you that long. If you take
Yeah,
that long to put your skill points in, you don't want to play. No, I'm
Yep.
kidding.
Yeah, I think the character creation is a reflective of how the gameplay is. It's
Mhm.
fast and thematic, very theatrical.
And
Eh,
a lot of this book, and before we continue, a lot of this book is cinematic. It mirrors the
cinematic.
movie.
Oh
It
yeah.
wants you to make GM calls on the fly. It wants you to hand wave things. There'll be a lot of things in here you're going to go, what about this? And it's not going to tell you about it because they basically want you to do that as a GM.
Yeah. They want you to feel it out and be like, what's going to be best for my game, and make that call.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
like refueling your ship. You won't really find rules for that in here.
yeah,
Mhm.
this isn't a game where it's not a simulation of the Star Wars universe. If you want that, wrong edition for you.
Right.
This is more, you want to play a episodic trounce through the galaxy. This is your game. You're not going to have to like do accounting for how many Imperial credits do I have and can I spend it in this on the Outer Rim, and where could I? No, we're not worried.
I mean,
about
you
that.
could play it that
Play it.
way,
You
Yeah,
could,
but
it's
it
not
really
what
entirely right.
it's not
It's
the
not
flavor
really
of
the
it.
intent. Right.
Yeah. And then something that this actually talks about in the character creation is have a session 0. They didn't call it that, but they said pre-figure out how your characters know each other.
Yeah, we call
It'll
it
make
character
us
creation. That's all.
right. That's
creation.
part of it. Make sure you do that, because otherwise you could really derail a Star Wars game really quick if you start playing and the characters don't know each other. I
Yeah.
tried that once. It
No, you
failed
can't.
horribly.
Because you could be actually at odds with each other.
Oh,
all
that's
you
what
know.
happened. They were.
Oh, sure.
I had PvP gunfire at the very beginning, because I started some of
man.
the characters actually in the cantina as Obi-Wan's cutting off the one drunk's hand.
Yeah.
I had so I'm like, I'll stick the characters in there and just kind of see what happens. And there was a Force adept that was being chased by an Emperor's hand, and I also
Yikes.
made the mistake of letting one of the players have a ship and
That's
a
not bad. That's not bad.
That's not
full
bad.
map of the galaxy.
Oh, wow.
Oh well.
Yeah. So at this point, they were basically, and they got so paranoid of the Empire. Anytime they saw a stormtrooper, we got to go to a random planet they won't be at. Oh shit! I got to go to Wikipedia because I have no idea what the fuck that planet is.
Another great resource, by the way.
Right? Yeah. Wikipedia, when you're running a Star Wars game, is a great Cliff's Notes version of lore for like the random things. Especially if you have a Star Wars nerd in your group that knows more the lore and more in depth than you, they're going to be calling out planets that you don't even know exist.
I always thought another great resource that we always used for our campaign was D6 Holocron. Love that website. It's really good stuff in there.
Yep.
Rancor Pit. Rancor Pit.
Rancor Pit is great forums at
Mhm.
Rancor Pit. So if anybody out there is worried, like, is there any support for this game? Oh, you kidding me?
It's Star Wars. There's
It's
tons.
Star Wars. Back in
Now-
the day when this first came out, there were people that weren't even RPGers that bought the source books because it was just Star Wars stuff.
And we had the mailing list too, as far as
Yeah.
the BBS. Yeah, BBS. That's what they called it back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
The
Bulletin board services
service.
online, and you had the mailing list and everything. You can exchange.
There was
ideas.
the
But
Star Wars fan club. Yeah.
Yeah.
there are a bunch of groups on Facebook. There are groups on Reddit if you like Reddit. There are groups on Mayway if you like Mayway. I mean, whatever social platform you want, there's probably going to be a Star Wars group there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, it may not be focused just on this, because there was a poll done a couple years ago of which edition most people play. Most people will play, and I think it's the revised and expanded edition with the Falcon on the cover of
The
it.
re-up.
No, not re-up. Not
Oh.
re-up.
The second edition revised and expanded.
Oh, okay.
With the Millennium Falcon on the cover with the stars and everything, the really thick book.
Oh, yeah.
But AKA third edition, more than likely. You can call it that. Most people
misspoke. Okay.
Yeah, most people play that edition. And then the other group of people will play this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we have a small minority that plays second edition, and that book is good. I like that edition too, but this one is easier if you just want to. If you want crunch with this, you go for the second edition. If you just want a
Yeah.
nice cinematic, fun,
Mhm.
tromp through the universe, like Matt said, here's your book, and it's hardcover.
I got a question between like first and second edition. As
Yeah.
far as compatibility, is there any compatibility? I don't really think there is. Is
there
there?
there is compatibility, though the ship stats and some of the skills are changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like the going from first edition to second edition, AD&D.
Oh,
So
that's not that big of a deal.
Right. There's some minor quirks, but overall you can just kind of interchange stuff.
But if you
won't
if you
notice-
wanted to get supplements from second edition and using it in first, you probably
Yeah.
just got to tweak it a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
just like when you were playing AD&D 1E and 2E was out and you were pissed and you still wanted to play 1E, you could still play.
Oh, okay. Because I think
They-
most of the stuff I have is the 1E Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
of the stuff I have the same thing, except for the few books that I bought when I bought second edition when that came out.
Right.
And they also bridged the gap, which we'll get into later on with companion and I think the rules essential. I think it's called.
Mhm.
They put one of these rules upgrades.
Yeah, they put that in my book too when I bought it. I lost it.
They put this in a lot of the books when they were selling it when second edition started coming out.
Yeah.
And it had revised combat, and it was supposed to bridge the gap between 1E and 2E to help you. The companion book started adding things on when they started. I guess West End Games was unsure if they wanted to make another edition of the game, and they wanted to add a little more crunch to the game. You can pick that up, and we can talk about that as well. It's kind of a hard book to find as well. Do you have it, Nick?
Which one again?
It's the companion, the rules companion.
No, I have the source book and the other two. I don't have the rules companion.
Yeah. So that one you can pick up too if you want to add a little more crunch to your game and answer a few of the questions that you're missing in the first edition. But if you want cinematic, quick hand waving, this is the edition for you.
Yeah.
And we will get into it in more detail going forward. Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes I talk ahead of myself.
Above and beyond.
Above and beyond Buzz Lightyear. Wait, no, wrong.
to infinity and beyond.
Yes.
And beyond.
So that's our show. About an hour. Looks like 52 minutes, 53 minutes.
Yeah.
Now we're doing these things here on YouTube, not live yet. But as people comment and they want to see this live, we will do it live.
Yes.
For now, we're just going to do it on video so we can focus on presenting the material as a podcast. And then once we go from there, we can do it live.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll do it live. But with that said, we're going to head out and may the force be with you and good night, everybody.